only getting like 5-day intervals.
Right.
It's cold, warming. Nice day, colder, cold. We're not getting it. Yeah. It's just we're
8
getting
to 10 days. Usually,
right. I like
about
those
10 days.
I like those 10-day ones where you only get like 2 days in a month that are actually cold.
But we're not getting that.
We're not getting
them
that.
every
We're
4 or 5
getting them
days.
4 or 5 days, and needing to cover.
I had to cover the orange, and I had to cover the Myers.
Yeah. Oh, this was our coldest one. This was our coldest one that we just had. The upcoming ones are still looking at
in the
frost
low 40s,
condition,
right,
frost type condition, maybe up mid 30s on Saturday night, Sunday morning, probably. Yeah. But so yeah, it's like this year is going to be the year. I hope you have a place set in the garage or in the Florida room, the lanai, whatever you've got a place, and just sort of leave those plants there.
We brought the daylily. We brought the peace lilies because my girlfriend has one as well.
Had to bring mom in.
They're both in the lanai.
Yeah.
But they're in the part of the lanai that gets sun about 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day.
Okay.
So it's still getting enough sun. That
it's bright enough for them that
we're having to water them.
Right.
Instead of being outside, we're having to take cups of water and pour into the pots and water them. But they're thriving, sitting right there in the lanai where they're getting sun, and we don't cover them at night, and even when it's 30, because they're on the lanai, so the roof covers them.
It's kind of protecting them from the frost. Now, some of that's temperatures that we can have, and even the ones we just did have, were actually. We did get the below freezing, so just the air temperature itself was enough to do some damage, but it may not have been long enough, or they were up close enough to the house.
Right, they're right next.
So it helps to keep them warm.
They're right next to the exterior wall of the house.
Right.
With that, I bet that wall's probably, even in its coldest, 50 degrees.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a couple degrees at least warmer than what the outside, than stepping, say, 6 to 10 feet away from it is.
If you want to call Carol Ann and ask any questions, 622-9622 is the number to call. She is here to answer your gardening questions, not just mine.
That's it.
Although I got plenty of them. She's here for your gardening questions.
Give us a call. Jump online, however you want to do.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
I covered the trees, the Myers and the ruby red grapefruit. Covered them. Had the noodle to protect the graft. Yep.
Covered
them up. I've noticed though, all the leaves are gone.
Yeah, it got cold. Yeah.
Even though it got cold, that's still the tree's still very green.
They'll be fine.
It's still fine. And there's new growth coming out on the sides of the tree.
Right. Just
but
let
the
it be.
leaves are gone.
I would still, especially because they're young to you trees.
Right.
Take this time to continue to care for them this winter.
Yeah, I'm watering them now every other day.
They've been in the ground
9.5, 10 weeks.
I'd cut them back to about once a week.
Okay.
Once a week, maybe even every 10, I'd go once a week.
So then the afternoon before the hard freeze next, water them then.
Could be. Yeah, because we're getting these colder temperatures, plants don't take up water quite as quickly.
Right.
So it's not utilizing that water, even though it helps to warm the ground around the roots. When we're going to get the cold, it's usually the day or two before, or like the morning of, say it's going to get real cold on Saturday night. Usually, by Friday it would be best.
Have a good drink Friday afternoon.
Good Friday afternoon. Saturday morning, if you went, oops, I forgot. But like say, a lot of times we are accompanied by rain, not always. And this year they've not been a whole lot of rain.
The cold front coming through tonight. It's coming through, and it's going to rain in South Florida, but it's not going to rain here.
But more than likely, we're not going to get, what are they saying? 10%.
Yeah.
10, 15% chance of rain, something like that.
So we're probably not going to get any rain. So I shouldn't be concerned with the leaves. They were yellowed and fell off.
And that's going to happen. And that's not shock. That's not anything. Yeah, it might have been, actually, part of it might have also been a little too much water.
Maybe.
To add to that. But when citrus trees drop their leaves, once they dropped them, that's fine. That's not hurting anything. It's when trees hang on to leaves that have turned brown that we start to look at a problem.
No,
but because it's cold, it's cold weather, and that it just went. I'm not happy, and poof, drop the leaves. So it's all right. It'll come back. Yeah. It'll come back.
Had to be happy with the pool noodles around.
Oh yeah. Yep.
I think we should. I told my girlfriend we should market that.
Market that as a the graft protection device.
Protection device. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Just put it on the internet. Graft protection devices.
Yeah. And especially, actually, if you string a piece of Velcro,
so you can close it,
so that you can close it and make sure that it stays and doesn't just the dog or the cat comes up onto it, it doesn't pull it off when you're not using it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
We got a marketing.
There you go. Got a marketing idea there. Yeah. You can even ship them across the country because you've got that ability yourself.
What are plants going through right now though? We've been talking about how the weather is so up and down. What are plants experiencing right now? Pretty much, it's a dormancy for most of the stuff that would be, say, your perennials and things like that. They've probably slacked off on their blooming. A lot of times our perennials will bloom year round. If they haven't been hit by the cold, they're probably still blooming, just maybe not quite as much. Talked to a customer yesterday. Yes, I am back to work. If anybody's hunting for me during the day, when I'm back to work. I'm back. And he goes, this plant, the top's all burn off, but the bottom's still green. I said, yeah, leave it alone. Leave it alone. Don't touch it because that top, even though that top is dead, it's protecting that plant. Our lawns are asleep. We don't fertilize this time of year. I don't care which manufacturer of fertilizer tells you can use me any time of year. Your lawn is asleep. You don't give an unconscious person a drink of water or a sandwich. Right, they'll choke. He's going to choke on it. He's not going to consume it. It's going to be detrimental. We don't need to give a sleeping, unconscious lawn any food. Water, yes, but then even then, we're giving it as a minimum. How much with the colder weather and the hotter temperatures and cold at night and the fog and the dew, how much does that give water-wise to your lawn that's dormant?
Not a lot. Moreover, the little bits, even those little tenths of an inch rains we're getting are beneficial. It's not much. It's not really that measurable, but it does help to prevent them from being really drought stressed. And the higher humidities do the same thing. It does help to keep some of that drought stress. It's when a lot of times we get wind with our cold fronts, and that just pulls the moisture out of plants. And that's why we have to make sure our plants and our lawns are not drought stressed. So that's where proper watering comes in.
I have something I've noticed the past couple of weeks is we have shrubbery that goes around the front of the house. And it's very, very vibrant shrubbery, and it stays trimmed by our lawn guys and everything. Right. But I've noticed in the last 2 or 3 weeks, there's starting to be barren leaf, barren spots in particular areas of the shrubbery. I don't know what's caused it. When I asked my girlfriend, she goes, it happens every winter.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, I wonder if it's bare spots, and in the summer is the other part of the shrubbery covered up.
It's just covering it, and that quite possibly could be, or the last time they trimmed them, some of that, if it had started to try to put on, or it exposed some of those areas, and obviously if it was a little late in the season, didn't have a chance to grow back in and fill back in to cover those bad spots up. That's why we hold off, once they hit a certain point in the year.
The box shrubs have 4 or 5 different dead little blank spots in them.
If it's boxwood, sometimes they ended up, especially as they get older, to be older plants, some fungal issues that get in there and start to just destroy.
Oh, okay.
And then if we have a year, this winter, to me, is maybe not quite as stressful to the plants because we're staying cooler. We're not going and shooting up there to those 78, 80 degrees for 4 and 5 and 6 days, and then boom, bottoming back out at 28 to 30 degrees, and then shooting back up to 75. We've
been saying about 62, 63, 65.
62, yes, and the 72, 73 we had yesterday was nice. We're getting a few of those, but it is just looking at a 10-day. I brought up a 10-day forecast just to look at it. our lows are running there in the 40s, highs in the 60s, which is a little bit below average for us.
Yeah, because we're usually between 68 and 72 in the day.
And that, right.
And the mid-40s at night.
Mid-40s at night, right. And so we're running a little bit below the norm. So I think most everything else has sort of gone dormant. You're not seeing that extra growth coming on. So I think the things are going to go to sleep. They're not going to force that new growth. If it gets burnt, it's not going to try to start growing right away unless we get some significant warming trends in another, I would say if I'm looking 10 days out, I'm looking at the end of the month.
Right.
And I'm not seeing that, at least not through January.
We're almost halfway through the month of January.
Almost halfway through the month of January. We got about a month and a half before spring gets here. 2 months to go.
622-9622 is the number to call if you want to talk to Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin. How important, say you're a new person that just moved to this area.
Okay.
And you have a job that doesn't allow you to be the lawn maintenance person yourself.
Right.
How important is choosing the right lawn maintenance guy to your shrubbery and your grass?
Very important. I mean, you can get somebody who just really is maybe too busy, has too many accounts, and so they rush and hurry through, so they may not do a good job mowing. They may scalp some. They may trim the hedges lower so they don't have to come back as often. Things like that. I mean, I would look around. If you are new into the area, or we've got a lot of snowbirds that maybe have come back since the holidays and that to spend a little bit of time looking to hire somebody to come in and talk to your neighbors. If you like what their yards look like, ask them who does theirs. And, that's how I would look for it.
Word of mouth referral.
Word of mouth referral is very good. Was a couple years ago at the Spring Festival, I think it was the last one we actually held, or maybe that's the one that was canceled. David Holmes was our extension director at that time, and he was going to actually do a presentation on how to select a landscape company to come in and do your maintenance, because your people who are going to do your fertilization and things like that have to complete a course in the state of Florida. It's a Green Industries, Green Industries Better Management Practices, BMP. And that they learn about, and I believe all of their employees, if not all the employees, all of the supervisors, at least if it's a larger company, have to take this course, and it has to be renewed every couple years.
Right.
So that way they're up to date on what Florida regulation is on applying fertilizer. It's all based upon fertilizer more than anything else, more than cutting or pruning and things like that, because our water resources are so precious.
Yeah, the aquifer can get poisoned very easy.
Our springs, our ocean fronts, our lake fronts, our creeks, everything, is so very important.
A lot of people would tell you that the reason the springs is so overgrown now, and the reason why you don't see as many fish and all as you did when I was a kid, when we go to see, is the nitrate runoff into the springs.
Nitrates and the phosphates.
Right. It creates the grass underground. The grass is underwater. It can feed on that same fertilizer.
Yeah.
So it grows that grass.
Getting more, getting more, and you get the algae, and this is where our algae blooms. And many always wanted to blame agricultural industry, and some of it, of course, does come from that. Some of it comes from golf course maintenance, and all of these things are different, thrive under different regulation. What you do at your home is different than what is done on the grounds here of the Paddock Mall.
Certainly. Or
the Cascades in town, any of those. They are under, so you can't look at what they're doing and go, I'm going to copy, because you can't. There are regulations, and because there's what we call non-point source pollution. You in your yard are not directly polluting something, but when the grass clippings get blown out into the street and they run down the storm sewer and they run down into the creek that then feeds the next and da-da-da-da-da.
And then all of a sudden it's in the Ocala and then in the Silver River.
Right. And we've got algae blooms going
People
on.
Go, but I don't live close to there. No. I can't. Nothing I do in my yard can affect the Ocala or the Silver River. I don't live near there.
Drive around the county, and you will see signs out on the roads that you are entering the Silver Springs water basin, that the protection area.
Right.
And there are different regulations in those areas, and the Rainbow River one. I think the Rainbow River one starts over here on 66.
It does.
When you're going over the bridge.
Right.
Over the I-75. And so everything that we put on the ground, eventually with our sandy soil, hey, this soil doesn't hold water. Right. So whatever you put on top runs through.
Yeah, it's great for a golf course because 30 minutes after it rains, you can play muni.
It
drains well.
Yeah, that's it.
But it's not good for the aquifer.
It's not good. Well, it's great for the recharge. Right. It's good for the recharge, but we have to be very careful on what we put down. And everybody who knows me, I used to work for one of the big companies that changed names, and they make lawn fertilizers, they make garden chemicals, and things like that. And I've always and I'm not against those. I'm against using them correctly.
You're against using them incorrectly.
Right.
You said you were against using them correctly.
Oh no, I'm against using it incorrectly. I am a read and follow the label instructions kind of person.
They're there for a reason.
They're the law.
Yeah.
They're the law. There's a little strip right up on the top, and it's usually in little tiny print that says the mission, using this as directed is actually a federal offense.
Right.
So it's one of those kind of things. What was it? Somebody the other day says, they were looking at something as simple as on an African violet on a pest control kind of thing. I says, a lot of people use a cotton swab and a little bit of alcohol. She says, I've looked on this website and that website, and nobody says it on there. I says, because your bottle of alcohol is not labeled for use on plants.
Right. It's
legally, not labeled. Legally, they are labeled for what they are. They're an antiseptic for the scrapes and bumps and that. But that's why Epsom salts, they actually. Magnesium sulfate is Epsom salts.
Right.
Your old bag of Epsom salts was never labeled for use on your plants. It is now.
Right.
But they had to go through the EPA to have it listed on there. So read and follow the directions. When something tells you to use 2 ounces to the gallon, don't go with 3. 1, you're wasting your money, because it's not any more effective. And 2, you could be hurting yourself, your pets, and your environment.
It's kind of like I ask a pharmacist one time. I go, what's the difference between taking 3 Advil and 4 Advil?
Right.
Because 3 Advil is 600 milligrams, 4 is 800 milligrams.
Right.
And the prescription's 800 milligrams.
Right.
He goes, yeah, but 600 milligram and 800 milligram, your body won't know the difference.
Right.
It's not going to be any more effective taking that 4th Advil than it is taking 3, but it'll be less damage to your stomach taking 3 than it is 4.
Right, and your liver.
And that's what you're saying about this.
Exactly.
Using 2 ounces like it calls for per gallon,
right,
or using 3 ounces per gallon isn't going to make a difference in the effectiveness, especially with like Roundup. People think, it says 2 ounces.
That's actually a very good example.
They said 2 ounces to a gallon. Well, I'll put half a gallon to a gallon, and these weeds will stay gone forever.
Nope.
They don't. You just poison the soil deep down and get it into the water.
And not even just that. Actually, one of the concentrated versions of that exact product, Roundup, contains 2 products. It contains 2 chemicals. If you overmix that, the one chemical is at too high of a rate, and it'll burn the top off the weed. And it won't kill the weed. It doesn't work.
So it's
counterintuitive. Right. It's counterintuitive to it. So that's what, read and follow the instructions. It's just not, And
you always hear this. And is there any truth to this? You always hear this. Because I grew up in South Georgia. And you got a lot of people in the agricultural business in South Georgia that if you know the right people, you can get industrial strength.
Oh, yeah.
Roundup.
Yeah, right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Industrial strength. Is there really a difference between industrial strength Roundup and the stuff I can buy at the store?
Well, it depends. But the thing is, here's the whole thing. Because we used to carry, because I'm a label reader. Right. I grew up from the cereal box in the 70s. You're sitting there as a child eating your bowl of cereal before school.
That was our phone.
That was your reading material before school instead of the TV or instead of the phone. When you read and follow the label instructions on the Roundup Pro or the other one, that you get this great big 2.5 gallon jug for $260. Right. It makes that $15 jug really, really cheap is all it does.
Right, that's it.
Because you follow the directions,
it's the same.
It is the same. There are mixing instructions to mix it a little stronger, depending on what it's being used for. But all you have to do is mix it correctly and use it at the right time of year. Today, right now, wintertime's not the time to use Roundup.
No, there's no weeds alive.
They are not actively growing. They're not actively growing. The temperature's too cool, so it's not absorbed quickly and properly, and it's not sunny.
People say, I had a friend of mine, he lives by this, lives in Georgia, my buddy Russ, and he will tell you that he has and he's got cattle. He's got cattle, and so he
runs his fence line.
The hot wires along the line. He's got the 5-mile hot wire, so good hot wire. But sticks and weeds.
And get up in there.
He every winter goes to his local
farm supply store. Farm supply store.
One of those places, Southern States,
Southern Ag or whatever.
Yeah. And he gets his Roundup Pro, and he puts it in his spray bottle, and he goes out on his John Deere Gator. And he sprays his fence line, and he soaks it in the wintertime. He says, that keeps the weeds from coming back as early.
If he's
by the time it comes back, hadn't the rain kind of diluted all of that and everything?
Well, actually, Roundup's a contact herbicide. Only what you spray is what it kills.
It doesn't soak in the ground and kill anything underneath.
No.
If it did, kudzu would be dead.
Yeah, if it actually, it is a contact herbicide. That's why you can redo a lawn, spraying it, wait 7 days, whatever's still green, spray again, plant in 3.
Right.
You're putting new right on top of it.
Right. New grass on Roundup 3 days before.
3 days before, and you can do it.
Yeah.
It's a contact herbicide.
He swears by it.
And there are ones with residuals, and that might be what he's purchasing.
Who knows?
Yeah.
He swears by it.
Right.
I think it's just something he does to make it look like he's working in the wintertime.
Could be.
I think that's because he rides around in that Gator a lot. With his golf clubs in the back always, so he can hit practice balls, he says. Whenever he's out in the pasture.
Right, I got you.
I mean, he's pretty successful.
Could be.
Got about 600 head of cattle.
He's
not a small farm he's running.
No.
Not a small farm.
He's got it.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, your call, 622-9622 is the number to call. Carol Ann Baldwin, Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin, in the garden, right here on WOCA, The Source. That is right. Carol Ann Baldwin is in the building now. Carol Ann.
In the building.
Good morning to you.
Good morning.
We're right up against the break, but she'll be back now live in person to take phone calls at 622-9622.
Not Memorex.
Not Memorex. No, I remember. Is this live or is it Memorex? We'll be right back after this timeout. You're listening to 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA. The Source. It's in the garden with Carol Ann Baldwin live. Next.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
USA Radio News with Lance Pride.
In the waning days of the Trump administration, sources said on Monday President Trump is likely to grant clemency to rapper Lil Wayne on Tuesday in a final series of pardons that is not expected to include lawyer Rudy Giuliani or ex-aide Steve Bannon. Trump is expected to issue more than 100 pardons. Vice President-elect Kamala Harris has formally submitted a letter of resignation for her U.S. Senate seat to Governor Gavin Newsom of California, ending her 4-year term in the chamber. She said, "As I resign from the Senate, I am preparing to take the oath that will have me preside over it." End quote. Newsom has named Alex Padilla, California Secretary of State, to fill Harris's seat for the next 2 years. Japanese photography giant Canon has launched a new interactive website that gives you a chance to take pictures from space. Unveiled at CES 2021, redefinethelimits.us. For USA Radio News, I'm Lance Pry.
Hey travelers, do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call, because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at ridiculously low prices. Our prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find ridiculously low prices for you. Call SmartFares today and get the best price on your next flight. Guaranteed. Also, save up to 50% off business and first class tickets.
800-871-3291. 800-871-3291. Again, that's 800-871-3291.
Tick-tock. The days fly by, and we find tax season is upon us once again. Not to worry, though. With a reputable CPA firm on your side, you can rest assured that all of your needs will be handled in a professional and thorough manner. Robson, Scribner, and Stewart is just that firm. They're there for their clients year-round, not just during tax season, to handle your needs and answer any questions you may encounter. At Robson, Scribner, and Stewart, there is no client too small or too large. Their expertise ranges from the single individual to the largest of corporations. Get your return prepared by a professional who will use their years of experience to ensure that your tax return's outcome will leave you in the best possible position. Call them today at 694-4184. Robson, Scribner, and Stewart. They're there for you today. Again, that number is 694-4184. Time is of the essence, so don't delay. 694-4184.
What you need is RoofMax. RoofMax is a revolutionary green roofing solution that can save you $10,000 or more by greatly extending the life of your existing roof. Here's how it works. Asphalt roof shingles have essential oils to keep them flexible and waterproof. Over time, this oil dries out, causing your roof to become brittle and slowly break apart. A RoofMax treatment saturates your roof with millions of microbeads, restoring flexibility and continued waterproof protection. It's like a skin moisturizer for asphalt shingles. RoofMax treatments are guaranteed for 5 years, and repeating treatments can extend your roof's life for up to 15 years for a fraction of the cost of replacement. RoofMax uses satellite measurement software to provide a hassle-free, contact-free price quote over the phone in under 5 minutes. No in-person house call required. Get your instant quote by calling 352-639-2777. That's 352-639-2777.
Each morning, we wake up thankful to live in a free nation with liberty and justice for all. But sometimes those liberties can be put in jeopardy, and you may have questions about what to do or who to call. Let Doc Blanchard of Blanchard, Miriam, Adele, and Kirkland help you find the answers. Attorneys at law since 1974 and located in downtown Ocala. If you have legal issues, don't go it alone. Call 352-732-7218. Blanchard, Miriam, Adele, and Kirkland, helping protect your liberties every day.
Hello, I'm Mark Sears with Regency Printing. With over 10 years in the printing business, I know you'll find Regency Printing the place for all your local printing needs. Plus, I have fax services, mailbox rentals, notary service, U.S. mail, pack and ship, all at one convenient location, 2375 Northeast 25th Avenue. Just look for the yellow signs. Regency Printing, 789-6683. That's 789-6683. Regency Printing.
Hey, Matt, I know Sunrise Automotive does auto stuff, but I need some tires for my truck. Can you recommend someone?
Yes, I can. We do that.
No, I mean I need them installed and balanced and all that.
Yep, we do that.
Well, my son needed his windows tinted.
Yep, we do that.
I need my seat replaced.
Yep, we do that too.
I need a new roof line and a new spoiler and a new truck.
We can even do that too.
Okay, I get it. I suppose you can also do a radio show too.
Well, as a matter of fact, join me, Matt Gibbs from Sunrise Automotive, every Tuesday at 10 for auto repair with personal care right here on The Source.
In the Garden with Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin. She is in the studio with us.
Live.
You can see on YouTube, she's live. Had a little doctor's appointment this morning.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Had to go take care of that.
Got to take care of that, do the follow-up, and then they want other stuff, and it's all good. Yeah.
That's her excuse, folks.
That's
really, it was just too cold. She didn't get out
I
of
didn't
bed.
want to get out of the covers.
You know, I got the heated mattress pad.
Oh.
It was a chore for me to get out of bed this morning.
Flannel sheets work, too.
So I got a problem.
Yeah.
Last night I was, watching TV, got sleepy, went to bed, didn't take the garbage out. Shame on me.
Shame on you.
Because not taking the garbage out, I didn't walk by my lemon tree and my grapefruit tree and remember that I should have put a cover on them.
Yeah.
Are they going to be okay?
They should be all right. They've already lost all their leaves anyway.
Yeah, they've already lost all their leaves. And the grass we kept covered with the pool
Right,
noodle.
you've got the pool noodle around that. So, yeah, pretty much all that would have happened is probably if you still had leaves, they probably would have ended up dropping.
And I gave them a good watering, not yesterday, but the day before yesterday.
So they're not
I'm
down
down
water
to 2 times a week. I'm watering 2 times a week.
Yeah,
now.
and that's fine. That's fine. With us staying, and as it was, with the earlier portion, with the first segment being the rerun from last week, we were talking, that we're staying within this slightly below average, slightly below norm on cooler weather, that the plants aren't getting, they're getting acclimated. So it's like, okay, I'm chilled. I'm not going to try.
Schizophrenia they usually
right,
have.
that they bounce back and forth. Yeah, a little bipolar. It's warm, it's cold, it's warm, it's cold. We get Mother Nature back on her meds, and right now she'll be having hot flashes this summer, and but this winter we're not getting those. So they're staying a little more dormant. You're not seeing. We have a few, a day or two where it warms up nicely, pleasantly, but even then it's not much over our average high for this time of year.
Yesterday it was fine. It was 68 degrees
68
yesterday.
degrees. You could actually get down to just a light long sleeve shirt, outside, for a while. Not an extended time because it's just that short time. It takes a while. I mean, I just refreshed my thermometer on my phone,
Let's see if
and
your
it said
phone
it was
and my phone
my
agree.
phone says 39 still.
My phone says 50.
50? Okay, let me check a different one.
My phone says 50.
Your phone's might be better. Yeah. Well, the other one may not have updated right.
The National Weather Service says it's 50 degrees right now.
I'm bringing up the Weather Channel. Weather Channel saying 52 in Lady Lakes. What did you just do, you silly phone?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's warm. It was cold. There was a lot of frost. There was widespread frost today. It wasn't that hit or miss. But stuff's staying dormant.
And it warmed up once the sun come up. It's warmed up quite quickly.
Right.
Let's go to the phone lines. Hi, caller. Who's this?
It's Sonny calling.
Hey, Sonny.
You were talking about the hi, Carolyn.
Yeah.
You were talking about the weed killers and things, and how about the weed killer that supposedly does not hurt the grass? I have some weeds around, and it's easy to spot because the grass is all brown.
Right.
And the weeds are green.
Right.
I was wondering about using something like that.
You're gonna.
I know it's cold.
Oh yeah. With it being cold, you're gonna have to look at the labels on the bottles. But yes, you can spot spray. You're going to need to do it on these few warmer days because otherwise it won't absorb it. It will not take it into the vascular system of the plant to get it down into the root system. But usually those will tell you need about 60 degrees in order for those to work. 60 degrees and warmer up until about 80 degrees is their optimum temperatures for working their best. So I think we've got, this week here coming, from today forward, I think we're supposed to be in that low 70s.
I'm looking at it. Tomorrow, 72. Thursday, 72. Friday, 75.
Right.
Saturday, 75. Sunday, 75. Monday, 81.
That one I'm wondering.
Getting the mower out.
You probably won't need to mow, but yes, I think you can do it once it warms up in the morning. is to go ahead and spray it early. We have great sunshine, so that's warming it, allowing that to be absorbed, and I think you'll see some decent results. But try to do it early while that temperature is warming, because it's only going to stay warm from say 11 till about 4 or 5 in the afternoon. We only have that short time span in between there. So try to do that early while it warms, but during the sunny part of the day.
Thanks, Sonny, for the call.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Sonny.
Yeah, it looks like that we're about to have one of those schizophrenic weeks.
It may be, but I mean, even I was listening to one weather report this morning, and they're saying that they've upped it that 81, but that depends on how a specific front comes through. If it moves a little bit, it'll probably be back down into the 72 stuff.
Depends on how
that moves. Right now they're looking at it and that we may have, which that would be fantastic. I hate cold weather. Everybody knows I hate. And those who no, I haven't even had you probably don't know my prognostication for the breaking of winter and coming of spring. We've not had one thunderstorm.
Not one.
And it takes 3 of them.
Before winter breaks.
And spring's coming.
Yep.
Well, he believes me. Sue, Kathy, if you're listening, he believes me too. But
Tony Fair, who is one of the best farmers I've ever met in my life, he peanut tobacco farmer in Statesboro, Georgia, said you must have 3 thunderstorms. But he said, don't worry about Punxsutawney Phil.
No. Punxsutawney Phil lives in Pennsylvania.
Means spring's around the corner.
There you
And Tony Fair is an 80-year-old man that's been farming all his life.
Okay, so then either I don't know if I had heard it or if I just learned it on my own. But it has to be right after the first day of winter.
Yep.
And then forward. And we've not had one.
Not one. But
and we're into the middle of January.
So they're coming though.
It's been the way the fronts have come. We're getting a lot more Arctic, but we're not having that warm air in order to cause those thunders.
That gets that tail whip that creates the thunderstorms.
That little.
Hi, caller. Who's this?
Good morning.
Morning, Hugh.
Antarctica South.
Yeah. What's up?
See, I've lived here 26 years now, and this has been the coldest most of December and probably almost all of January that I've experienced, although I've experienced colder bottom temperatures. One winter I had, I think it was 19 in my thermometer.
Yeah.
But supposedly the other day we reached the average bottom low, and now we're on the upswing, right?
No, not necessarily. I mean, for this week. But no, I mean.
For the total average, that's what it was on TV. Was in Orlando. I think a couple of days. The weather guy said, "Well, we hit the bottom now. Our averages are going to start going up now. So hopefully we're at the turning point."
I don't know about that. I mean, our average low for this time of year is what, 47, 48 degrees?
Well, Troy Bridges, I know what Hugh's talking about. I saw Troy Bridges last week say that we've turned the corner where the averages will start increasing instead of getting any lower. We've turned the corner where the average low has reached as low as it's going to get, and now we're turning a corner to where the average low starts increasing.
It should be increasing, depending on what happens up in the Arctic.
Right, that's what Troy was alluding to.
I got you. Of course, we haven't had the Rolex. We haven't had the 24 hours of Rolex because that's always the coldest weekend of the year,
100%.
especially if you're camping in the infield in a tent.
Carol Ann Baldwin has experience.
Yes.
With a colder than normal winter now that we've been experiencing, would that have any effect on, let's say, the insect population this year?
Nope. No, we don't get temperatures. Actually, it might make it worse because they're going to come out because they didn't throw on a last generation, say in October, November, because we got cool early.
Right.
We actually did. We got cool early. We've had winter. We haven't had cold spells. We've had winter, and people.
Or as much of winter as you're going to experience
in Florida, right? In Central Florida, and talking to people because where I work, I'm there, right there by the villages. I have a lot of seasonal folks who come in, regular customers during the season, new people down, and they're going, yes, we are having winter because normally they've got short sleeves and shorts, and now they've got a jacket on, and they're going, yes, it's wintertime here. It's not as much, it's harder to find a nice day to be out on the courts and the golf courses.
Take Jacksonville, for example.
Yeah.
Jacksonville this year has had 20 days below freezing.
Whoo.
Jacksonville.
Yeah.
But I lived in Jacksonville. I grew up in Jacksonville. It's probably 20 degrees difference.
Oh, I'm
between
sure.
Jacksonville and Ocala.
Right.
And they're 85 miles apart. Mm-hmm. And there's a 20-degree difference.
Right. And you look
that's
at
because of the jet stream.
Right, exactly, and the coastal portions there. You just look also just at the placement. Tallahassee and those are 20 degrees colder.
Thanks
than
for the call, Hugh.
And another observation, if anybody's ever noticed, if it's warm in California, like Los Angeles, we're cold.
Yeah,
they're in the 70s.
Well, what got
and
me
we've been in
last
the 60s.
week? Last week we were in the mid 30s. Mm-hmm. And we had the same exact temperature as Manhattan, New York.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've had times when it's been like that, or even colder than some of the northern states that are overnight temperature or our morning lows.
Am I right in this assumption, or is it just me trying to think that I'm smarter than I am? The jet stream that comes out of the Arctic and it swoops down, and that's where the Arctic blast comes from. Where, depending on where the jet stream is, depends on the Arctic blast.
Right.
It seems to me that the jet stream every now and then will dip into Ocala, but mostly the bottom end of the jet stream is about Paynes Prairie.
Yeah. I was going to say that Gainesville area, only because I think where the shape of the state is that the breezes off the Atlantic and the Gulf. And come and sort of make a cushioning. Because if you look at the USDA temperature zones and things like that it takes in Daytona and comes down and goes and makes this little.
The U seems to always come right into Paynes Prairie. Micanopy, that area.
Mm-hmm. Occasionally it dip down and it includes Ocala, but usually it's
but
a
like
little bit above us.
This morning on News 6, I watched I wrote Troy Bridges, News 6. He was a storm chaser. I like any dude. Any dude that was a storm chaser, I'm watching.
That works,
because he knows he's lived weather if he's a storm chaser.
Right.
So, or either I'm channeling my Bill Paxton from
from years back. Yeah.
So either or. But so I was watching Troy. The low, he said right now in Ocala, it's 33 degrees.
This morning,
28 degrees in Gainesville. 5 degrees difference.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that's when you're talking about the difference between 33 and 28, that's the difference between living and dying for plants.
Right. And exactly. That you're freezing, you're at freezing or you're below freezing temperatures. And that's where we are. You've got the 8B, the 9A, the 9B, where we are, depending, are you in Citra? Are you in Spar? Are you in downtown Ocala?
So it's colder in Anthony.
You're than I am just south of Ocala.
Certainly.
Of course, mine depends on the time of year. I do like to drive home and watch my thermometer drop on my car in the summertime, watch it drop a couple degrees as I turn into my wooded neighborhood.
Right.
But you see those differences, and that's where your zone maps change a little bit. That's when you're reading your plant tags and you're finding out, is this going to thrive here or survive here? That 8 to 9, we're sort of in that cusp depending on where you're at. Or if you're out there in the forest, like where Hugh's at, he gets colder.
Right.
He's out in Silver Springs over there.
If you're in Bellevue, you get colder than I do.
Sometimes in
North 326.
I was going to say Weirsdale has a cold pocket.
Right.
In Weirsdale, I think it's like a 7-mile stretch. It's narrow, but
it's weird how that works.
And it's just one of those things. It's the lay of the land. It's how the lakes and everything else, the amount of tree coverage or open areas even that allow the winds through. So when you're looking for things that are going to do well here, you've got to pay attention to that. If they're saying 9 to 11 zone, you realize we're a 9. We're the topmost that it's going to do well. 11, for cold, the bottom, it depends on the plant. If they're calling it a tropical, and it's from zones 9 to 11, you realize we may get some cold weather that's going to knock it out or back severely. If you're in a 10, you're probably right there in the middle and might be right perfect. If you're down a little further down to that 11, it might be starting to get too hot for it, or just the opposite of that 9. So it's
How crazy, and this is one of my reasons that I will always want local news in our area.
Right.
How crazy is it? Troy Bridges, going back to him.
Yeah.
He has to figure out the weather from Ocala to Melbourne.
Right.
That's their viewing area.
Right.
The Orlando Channel 6, Channel 2.
All of them are
their viewing area is Melbourne, Titusville,
and if you pick up the other one, they barely talk about Ocala. I mean, you get it better out of the Orlando stations.
You do.
Yeah. Or the Daytona
or the Gainesville station talks about Ocala, but we just said Gainesville is much colder than Ocala.
Right.
But the fact that, like, I was watching this morning, it was 31 degrees, 32 degrees in Ocala, like 5-something in the morning. I was watching it. It was 48 degrees in Melbourne.
Yeah. And it's going, today we're going, what were they saying this morning? We were going to 68 or 69, I think, today
and Melbourne
for us.
was going to be near 80.
They were going to be pushing 75, 80. Yeah. So we are a long, narrow state that's influenced by Atlantic and Gulf water, the breezes off of both of those, and so that's where all the
because we got cooler earlier.
Yeah,
the ocean cooled earlier.
It did,
and that's a big deal.
Yes, and it probably cooled maybe even a little lower.
That's
than
why
usual,
you don't get the thunderstorms.
Right. Because we don't have that warm water. It's not warming yet.
People say, well, it's easy what causes thunderstorms. Hot and cold combined. Crashing.
Yep.
That's thunderstorm.
It.
Cold air, hot air.
Boom.
They don't like each other.
They don't mix.
It's oil and water.
Yeah, they don't mix well. They
get angry at each other.
They do.
Or you can get two hot air fronts coming in two different directions,
and then,
which is called the sea breeze.
Yeah, and then you get there's moisture that has come in. Yeah, that's our moisture.
That's our
that
summer
comes
afternoons. When the eastern sea breeze and the Gulf sea breeze collide
in the middle of the state,
and then which one is more powerful presses it, whether it goes west or whether it comes east.
Right? Does it cross I-75 or does it not make it?
But what it does, it always makes it to Ocala.
Yes. Unless we have some of those drought years, and I mean this year we got a dry winter. Let's watch our spring.
I'm worried about the fire danger right now.
Yes, we got a lot of crunchy stuff.
A lot of crunchy with the frost. The frost makes it crunchy.
Right. It's killed off vines, killed off weed type things, summer weeds, things like that. So if it might be the time that when we have some of these nice days, this nice weekend, if you're home, of cleaning some of that up, raking it up, like you said, mowing over, mulching those leaves, getting them out of there. If you back on a natural area, make sure vines in your fence. If they're dead, cut them out of there. Vines going up your trees just act as ladders. Cut those out, pull them down. You can get it out now because you can see it. Because other things are brown. You can get that stuff cleaned up, either bagged and put out for your lawn recycling, chip them up, put them in your compost bin. It's not going to hurt the compost.
People forget, and people forget when they're doing these kind of things. People forget, and I know a friend of mine, remember the bad fires that came through, I think it was 2004?
Yeah.
Is that when it burned up?
A lot of
Keystone,
all the way over.
Or remember 98 when it burned all the way down 95?
Right. Oh, yeah. Down to, Brevard and Melbourne.
Was that 95? It was in the 90s.
It was,
somewhere.
There was a lot,
Right. I had a friend of mine in the 2004 fires that lived in Keystone Heights. House burnt down, and here's how. Fire got about 400 yards from their house. That was close, but not enough to burn their house down. They had took every precaution. They had cleaned the vines off their fences. They had raked their yard and everything. They thought they'd done everything. Didn't clean their gutters out. Embers landed in their gutters.
Had a spark.
Set the leaves in the gutter off.
The trash on the fire.
Burnt the house down.
Wow.
And people forget that.
That's true. That's a good reminder.
Flying embers landed. If you got leaves on your roof or something.
Right.
flying embers falling in. Oh, well, no, they're up on the roof. They got to be moist. Not always.
No, especially during dry times.
Right.
Yeah, during dry times, and that's when the fires are going on.
Burnt his house to the ground.
And there's a couple of products you're not finding them in the stores anymore. I talked about them years ago. They're actually manufactured here, and it's a product called Hydrotain. It helps plants take the moisture, even during drought, that's available in the ground, that the frost moisture, the humidity, and makes it available to the plants to where they're not drought stressed. And I actually saw an aerial photograph, and it was not taken by this company. It was actually taken independently of a house over, I think it was in Hernando County, when the fires were going on over there, probably 6 or 7 years ago.
Burnt all around it.
All but this green patch, because they use this product. And I mean, some of the pest control companies offer it. You can get it. You can buy it online. Comes as a hose end. I think it even comes as a granule that you can mix into flower beds, because it'll help them withstand drought conditions better. Besides just sort of it also keeps like the lawn green a little longer.
And we're not in a serious drought condition right now.
They're not calling it
but it is drier than normal.
Yes.
And the frost dries things
out. The winds that accompany our colder temperatures dry
palmetto bushes right now are dead and brittle and brown as underbrush. And just because you don't have any in your yard, that wooded area next to your yard could be a tinderbox.
Right, exactly.
So that's why people, everybody right now, they're cleaning up. They're cleaning up.
They're
burning.
getting ready to do their spring. They're
just be responsible.
Yes.
Always have a hose near the fire.
Use it if you can. Have that screen over your burn barrel, if possible.
I ain't got all that now.
Yeah, most people have a big pit in the backyard.
I got a big old ditch line. I got literally a 10-foot ditch line, so I just put it at the bottom of the ditch. I got 10 foot of ditch on each side.
There you go. So it's not falling out and crawling out.
And I can stand up on top of the ditch line with the water hose and make sure that none of the embers. I keep the water
just
up
missed it above. Just to drop those embers down.
Drop the embers.
Yeah. So be safe with it.
I'm South Georgia boy.
You've burned a few fires.
I've set a few things, pyromaniac. I mean, I've set a few things on fire.
Yard cleanup.
So, if one tip, we got about a minute left to go.
Yeah.
One tip that we could do, because this week is going to be a little warmer, so we can get out and do some things.
Do some things.
In middle January? What's the one thing we should start looking to do?
Either planning for next spring, or like we've been talking about, cleaning things up. Just clean it up. You can rake it up.
Dead vines
out of the fence.
Get
out of the fence. That those are pretty well probably fried all the way down.
So they should come off.
They should come off pretty easy, pretty brittle. Cut off down near the ground if it's something that you're You can leave if it's something you want to come back 6 or 8 inches for something for them to come back to or from. If you need to, we haven't had the rain. If you're not on irrigation, you might put the sprinkler out while you're there, or watering some of those things that might need it a little bit more. Don't flood anything. It's not taking up a lot of water. They just need water to survive and to keep up. Make your plans for this coming season. It's not quite February yet, but you might think about starting your seeds for your spring garden.
We've turned the irrigation system off.
Right. Most you're really better to turn it on this time of year, to have it come on and have it programmed maybe every 10 days. Every 10 days would at least keep you from being water stressed.
Carolyn Baldwin in the garden. See you next week.
See you next week.
We'll be right back. WOCA, The Source.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
USA Radio News with Lance Pride.
A woman who the FBI says took a laptop belonging to Speaker Nancy Pelosi during the January 6th riot at the U.S. Capitol and tried to sell it to Russians has been arrested. Riley June Williams was arrested on Monday, although no laptop has been